Hi, my name is Dan Sokulski. I'm a certified recovery support specialist with Chestnut Health Systems in Central Illinois, McLean County, and I'm also a member of the McLean County ROSC, which is a community coalition designed to bring as many different recovery services to the community as we can to help as many people as possible. We have a series of videos to help educate, build awareness among our viewers and members about different recovery programs, different recovery topics. Today we're going to talk about steps 6 and 7, from an AA and a CA type of program. One book I would recommend, Drop the Rock. It's just like a small blue, maybe like 150 page almost pamphlet, and it goes way into detail about steps 6 and 7, way more than the big book does, the AA big book. Really, there's only a paragraph in the book about step 6, and not much more than that. Maybe 3/4 of a page on step 7. So we don't get a lot from the big book, but what it does ask us to do is at the end of our 5th step on page 75, it's asking us, as we've reviewed, going through our moral inventory, personal inventory of our resentments, our sex conduct, our fears. We've gone through that with our sponsor or whomever we chose to do our 5th step with. And it asks, before going into 6 and 7, have we tried to make mortar without sand? In other words, did we do a thorough 4th and 5th step? Did we leave stuff out on purpose? Is there anything we left out that we should have addressed or forgot to? In other words, we want to do as thorough, searching, and fearless of a job as we can with that inventory and telling it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being. And once we're satisfied with that, then we're ready for steps 6 and 7. And all we get on 6 in the book is it says, if we can answer to our satisfaction, we then look at step 6, talking about this question. We've emphasized willingness as being indispensable. Are we now ready to let God remove from us all the things which we have admitted are objectionable? If we still cling to something we will not let go, we ask God to help us be willing. So 6 isn't about really doing anything or taking any specific action. It's just being about having willingness to let God take our defects of character. Defects of character, impatience, liar, thief, callous, get enjoyment from other people's problems, jealous, all these things. Anger for some people, isolate, just whatever. We all have defects of character. And drop the rock, that's what we're talking about. That rock is those defects of character that are weighing us down. The analogy they use in the book is there's a yacht party that's coming off of, getting ready to disembark from the dock, and this guy's running late, and the boat's already departed, and they're like, hurry, catch up. So he jumps in the water to swim to the boat. And anytime he makes a little progress, he starts to sink and the boat gets further. And they're like, hurry, come on, swim, paddle harder. He'll catch up, and then he'll start sinking and the boat gets further. And finally they're like, drop the rock. And he realizes he's got this boulder weighing him down, anchoring him down. And that's all of these things that get in the way of his connection to the sunlight of the Spirit, to the power of God, your higher power, whatever you want to call it. These are the things that get in the way of that. And that's why we need 2 steps to address this. One, just being honest and willing that we are ready to give them to our higher power, and then 2, what are the ones that we still want to cling to? A lot of times, it's like, all right, well, you can, take my deception and take my impatience, but I'm going to hang on to my anger, I like this, I get something from it. So it's really, it says, to have God remove all these defects of character. So 6 is about getting in that headspace where we're ready to surrender that stuff over. And then 7, just humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. That could be on our knees, that could be with the sponsor after our 5th step, but really it's all day, every day that we're doing this stuff. I can give, my judgmentalism or my intolerance to God in a given moment, and ask Him for patience, and maybe even get it in a moment when I need it. But then an hour later, there I am doing that same stuff, being impatient in line or honking at somebody who won't turn right fast enough at the light. And so it's like, shit, you know, there it is, they're creeping back in. They're like the cubes in the you know, cup of Coca-Cola or something. You push one down, another pops up, the whack-a-mole, right? That's what these character defects are. And I realized, all of us realize, we can't remove these things on our own. I tried that my whole life to address all the different shortcomings that I have, and I can do it, you know, in little bursts or, you know, temporary spurts, but they always kind of come creeping back, or I let them back in, or I go seek them out and, you know, actively bring them back into my life. And the more I'm suffering in my character defects, the less I'm close to my higher power, and therefore my recovery program is going to suffer. There's a simple prayer for step 7 that we can say throughout the day to kind of help us, recenter us, keep us focused on, you know, turning these defects of character over to our higher power. It just says, when ready, we say something like this: My Creator, I am not willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. We have then completed step 7. So again, we're not writing long lists here. We're not going up to people and, you know, making amends and, you know, doing all that sort of legwork. This is really about our relationship between ourselves and God, so that we can be of maximum service to other people. Because when I'm living in this stuff, you know, I'm just a faker. I'm not going to be really of service to anybody else. You know, I'm living in my own shit. So 6 and 7, turning this stuff over. These are, you know, like most of the steps, maintenance steps. We incorporate them into our day. We don't just say the step 7 prayer and then we're on to 8, you know, and never look at the stuff again, you know, because we know these defects of character are ubiquitous, you know, in our lives. So it's that constant effort to do the next right thing, to turn it over, surrender my will, thy will be done. And then after, as it goes, page 76 is my favorite page in the book because of these 2 lines. Faith without works is dead, reminding us we can talk the talk all we want, and we can, you know, pray and talk about God and go to church and do all this stuff. But if we're not actually doing the work, we're not working the steps, we're not being of service, you know, we're not carrying the message to others, then what we're doing is not going to amount to shit. That's a half measure, and those avail us nothing. And then the other great line, this is my personal mantra when I feel my will creeping in, or me not wanting to do something I know I need to for my recovery. And it says, remember, it was agreed in the beginning we would go to any length for victory over alcoholism. So victory over alcohol is what it actually says. Put whatever your drug of choice is there. That's a great line, you know, remind ourselves, you know, what it was like in those first few days back in, you know, treatment, not, you know, knowing I was going to be there for months, not knowing how long, you know, losing another job, bumping my marriage closer to divorce, you know, that much closer to not having my kids in my, you know, just all these things going on, and remembering that this is it, this is my last shot. I need to practice total surrender. I need to do what others suggest and stop trying to, you know, put my own way of thinking into the equation, because that never gets me anywhere when it comes to this stuff. And this little line is just a good reminder. Hey man, remember what it was like in the beginning? You made that agreement, you know, you said you were going to go to any lengths this time. And that's just kind of a good reminder. What it's really talking about in the context of the book, though, is getting out and doing our amends, because it's transitioning us from steps 6 and 7 to 8 and 9. And there's a lot about that, and we'll do another video on those. But basically, making a list of all people we'd harmed, became willing to make amends to them, and then making direct amends to such people, except when to do so would injure them or others. Those are 8 and 9. So hopefully that gives you an understanding of 6 and 7 maintenance steps. We're working on this stuff all the day. We don't need to have a substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, or co-occurring disorder to practice these steps in our life. This is just about being a better person, so we can, you know, go be most fit to go help somebody else, basically, because that's what ultimately helps us. So hopefully that was helpful. Again, McLean County ROSC, if you did like the video, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and we hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you.